The laughter started the moment I stepped into the reception hall. Not polite chuckles, real loud, belly laughter that bounced off the crystal chandeliers. I stood there in a $15 rented suit that didn't fit right. The shoulders were too tight, the pants a little short, and the jacket pulled across my back every time I breathed. It was the best I could afford after my truck broke down again and the repair bill swallowed my last paycheck. Still, I had driven 3 hours from Sacramento to this vineyard outside Napa because I told myself I needed closure. I never planned on making a scene. I just wanted to show up, wish her well, and leave with whatever dignity I had left. That plan died in under 10 seconds. Sophia's father, Richard Caldwell, spotted me first. He was holding a glass of scotch, wearing a tailored Tom Ford tuxedo that probably cost more than my truck. His eyes scanned me up and down like I was a stain on the white tablecloth. He didn't even lower his voice. "Well, look who decided to show up," he said loud enough for the nearest tables to hear. "Some men just don't know when to stay in their lane." The words landed hard. For a beat, the room went quiet. Then the laughter erupted, sharp, uncomfortable, but real. Heads turned, phones came out. A few people tried to hide their smiles behind champagne flutes, but most didn't bother. Sophia's new fiancé, Trevor Langford, smirked and raised his glass in my direction. Sophia glanced over from across the room. For a split second, I saw something in her eyes, not quite guilt, maybe surprise, maybe even a flicker of discomfort. But she didn't stop it. She just looked away and forced a smile. My face burned. My fists clenched at my sides, the cheap fabric creaking under the pressure. But I didn't run. I stood there letting them laugh, memorizing the faces that joined in. My name is Daniel Reed, and that $15 suit almost stopped me from coming to my ex-fiance's wedding. Almost. 4 years earlier, Sophia and I were just two ambitious kids who thought love could beat everything. We met at a charity 5K run in Sacramento. She had just finished her master's in marketing and was full of big dreams. I was a construction project manager working 60-hour weeks and coaching youth baseball on weekends. We were both broke, both hungry for more, and we fell hard. For the next 4 years, I gave that relationship everything I had. When she wanted a nicer apartment closer to downtown, I picked up night shifts pouring concrete so we could afford it. When her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, I cashed out part of my 401k, took the penalty hit so Sophia could fly home every other weekend without stress. When she decided to go back for her MBA, I worked weekends for 2 straight years so she could focus on studying instead of worrying about bills. Then came the student loans. Sophia was drowning under $87,000 in debt from undergrad and grad school. One night she broke down in my arms, saying she felt like she'd never get ahead. I sat her down, looked at the numbers together, and made her a promise. "I'll help you, not as a gift. We'll treat it as a loan between us. You pay me back when you're making real money." I took out a second mortgage on the small house my grandfather left me. For 18 months, I worked double shifts, holidays, overtime, whatever it took. In the end, I paid $68,000 toward her loans. Every transfer was documented, every receipt saved. When the balance finally dropped below $20,000, Sophia cried and hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. "You're the only person who's ever really had my back," she whispered that night. "I don't know what I'd do without you, Daniel." I believed her. I believed we were building a future, until the day I suddenly wasn't enough anymore. The breakup came on a random Tuesday evening, 6 months before our planned wedding. I came home early from the job site and found her sitting at the kitchen table, suitcase already packed. She looked tired, but her voice was calm, almost rehearsed. "I can't do this anymore, Daniel." She said my life was holding her back, that my blue-collar world and limited vision didn't match the future she wanted. She needed someone who could match her ambition and open doors for her. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just left. 2 weeks later, I saw the photos. The new man was Trevor Langford, venture capitalist, Ivy League background, son of a wealthy East Coast family. The kind of man who had never worried about a second mortgage. The next 2 years nearly broke me. I lost the house my grandfather left me to foreclosure. I had to sell the small construction company I'd spent 8 years building. I moved into a tiny apartment above a Chinese restaurant. Most nights I ate rice and beans. I sold my tools, I sold my truck. The lowest point came when I had to choose between paying rent or buying new work boots. I chose the boots. Sophia never reached out once. Not a thank you, not an apology, nothing. Then 8 months ago, the wedding invitation arrived. Thick cream cardstock with a short, handwritten note from Sophia Daniel. It would mean a lot if you came. We've both moved on. Let's celebrate the good memories and wish each other well. I almost threw it away. But something inside me, pride, anger, or the need to finally close the door, made me rent that cheap suit and drive to Napa. The best man was halfway through his speech when I stood up. My heart hammered. The cheap suit felt even tighter. I walked to the front and gently took the microphone. Just give me 2 minutes, I said quietly. The room fell into an uneasy silence. I connected my phone to the projector. Bank statements appeared on the big screen. Most of you don't know me. My name is Daniel Reed. For 4 years I was supposed to marry Sophia. I clicked through the records. 3 years ago I paid $68,000 toward her student loans. Every dollar documented. It wasn't a gift, we had an agreement. She left me 6 months before our wedding. I never asked for the money back. The room was dead silent. Sophia's face went white. Trevor's smirk vanished. I looked straight at her. I'm not here to ruin your day. I'm here to close the chapter. This morning I paid off the remaining $19,000 in your name. Consider it my final wedding gift. No more debt between us. Security started moving toward me. I handed the mic back. I wish you both a good life, I said. But real love doesn't disappear when someone better comes along. I walked out through the stunned crowd as phones flashed behind me. I didn't run. I walked with my head high, the $15 suit suddenly feeling like armor. The wedding never fully recovered, but it didn't destroy their lives either. The video went viral. Some called me a legend, others called me bitter. Sophia and Trevor got married the next day in a smaller ceremony. Richard was furious and threatened to sue, but nothing ever came of it. Sophia lost a big promotion. Trevor's firm lost a few investors. They had to deal with awkward questions for months, but they would recover. They were still rich, still connected. I didn't want their destruction, I just wanted my truth heard. For me, everything changed. A financial podcast reached out, then a men's magazine, then local news. I told my story honestly, the sacrifices, the betrayal, the depression, and the decision to finally stand up for myself. Thousands of people responded. I started a small foundation helping working people recover from financial betrayal in relationships. Donations came in. A year and a half later, I paid off my debts, bought back my grandfather's house, and started a new construction company focused on affordable housing. Sometimes late at night, I still think about that $15 rented suit. I remember the laughter, the shame, the look in Sophia's eyes when I forgave the last of her debt. But mostly I smile, because that cheap, ill-fitting suit carried a man who finally chose himself. Real strength isn't about wearing designer clothes or having money. It's about having the courage to walk away when respect is gone. It's about refusing to stay silent when someone tries to erase everything you sacrifice. On that night, the man in the $15 suit reminded everyone, including himself, what real dignity looks like.